Hey guys, how we doing? Doing some more work on that board track racer. I figure I'll make my little video documentary continue and take you guys along and kind of just show you what's going on. So, without further ado, this is what we're into. What do I start with? Let's start with the linkage first. Mechanically, it works like it should. Aesthetically, I'm not quite sure if I like it. I still have to kind of dress it up a little bit. But essentially, I took those pieces off the mower deck, and what that allows you to do, let's see if I can do it. Everything's just kind of tacked together. Put that rod back in. But this guy right here is spring-loaded, and it has a bunch of detents that it can drop into. So if you pull it to the side, leave this off for now. If you pull that to the side, you can kind of select how much tension you want to go bring back to it. Having said that, with a cotter key in it, that in turn will work that guy, as you can see, and then now we'll give you the tension to make it run, or when you back off, it just kind of freewheels. It's fairly stout. I think it'll hold up fine. I'm just not that crazy about the aesthetics of it, so I may go and start, like, start plating some stuff off and try to make it not look like a bed frame rail with 2 bolts in it. But it does work. So that's that part of it. There was a rod that was here. I slit the rod, shortened it up to the right size that I wanted to, and then you have adjustment right there, so you can still adjust it in the future. After that, I started playing with trying to figure out where I wanted to run the exhaust. I was gonna try and run it out the other side, but it did have the pipe thread on it, so as you can kind of see, we took about 10 bucks worth of fittings and ends and came up with this. And at the end of it, kind of made this puppy, just give it a little bit of flair to it. Everything's just kind of sitting on there. Pop it off its face. But this guy is, figured I'd just give it a little artistic flair. And what this started out life was, I had one of those halogen light stands. The yellow, they were adjustable, and well, this is one of the legs that were on it, and it had, basically it's a piece of crushed tubing. But what I did was I took a section of it and I sliced it down the middle, except for maybe the last inch of it. This is my practice one. My line wasn't that straight, so I started over again. But kind of shows you what I started with. So I took that, sliced the other side, and then heated up this edge of it, and then rolled that side of it up, like you see. So I pretty much had like a bird's mouth. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But that was open in the center. And I just made a couple plates up and welded the plates on each end and kind of ground them down. And then afterwards, the back end was kind of straight, and I didn't like that, so I just kind of went over to the bottom of my sander, as you can kind of see there, and made us a couple of funky marks on it. So what's going to happen is that stuff will all be just threaded together. This will be threaded, but this will be welded together. And I could spin this, put those pieces on with this welded already on. I could come out and spin it like you see. And probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to come off of here with a little tab, and I'll weld a nut to the inside of it, and that'll stay something about, I'll probably right about there. Maybe double as a chain guard. Or what I'll do is I'll make a heat shield on this that doubles as a chain guard. Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm going to do. Let me see if I can clamp that back together. Let me just put you down for 1 second. Okay. So, that'll go roughly something like that. I'll parallel the chain. It's kind of pulled up a little tight right now. But I figure it gives it a kind of neat looking look. Then I was thinking about making a gas tank. What I want to do, I was thinking about making my own. Not sure if I want to make a square, oval. There's a slight bend to that tube that you see there. So what I was thinking was taking this exhaust tube, as you can kind of see, I kind of crushed it down to make it more oval and do something like that. But I'm not that crazy about it. One, probably because it doesn't follow the frame line. I'm not sure how fancy I want to get, but that's still in the works. And I figured I could take 2 of these guys and I don't know, weld them to it, and then put some kind of fancy hardware to hold them. Undecided. And the other part was I was going to cut like this section of the gas cap out, and picture that welded onto there, so that would give me a gas cap sitting straight up right on the end of it. But as I said, I'm undecided on that. That was the pattern for that. High tech. Let's pop a little fuel in her, and we'll be able to hear what we got going on as far as how she sounds. Again, let me put you down. Dump fuel over my camera. See if we can backfeed that thing a little bit. Whoops. Whoops, I made a mess. Yeah. Fire makes ratings, right? Alright, see if I can do this one-handed. I think it's got a nice sound to it. Should sound pretty good when it's all said and done. So tomorrow's yard sale day, and I think it's gonna be pretty good. We have a town-wide going on, so I don't even have to drive far to hit a 40 or 50 yard sales in one shot. And I'm gonna look for like one of the Walmart style Chinese bikes, balloon style, the modern ones that they're copying the old ones like this, and I want to get some pieces off of it. Mostly just like the fenders. And that's pretty much it. The fenders, possibly if it's got an old school looking seat, I might go with that. Let's see what I can pick off of it. I'd like to try to redo the back rim again if I can find the pieces. If not, I'm going to go with this one for a while, because this one is off a little bit. When it does run, it's it kind of pulses it just a little bit. That's an exaggeration, but you get the idea. So now that I know how to make it, I'll be able to make another one a lot easier. Still waiting on a set of Ivory white tires for it. They should be here not in too long. I don't want to put them on while I'm still working on it anyway, but you get the idea. Alright, that's enough of that thing. I've been working on the Vanagon, and still kind of chasing the fact of getting air in the system and bleeding it, and trying to test different ways. One thing I did was a leak test, which is basically you were taking the spark plug out and you put compressor air into it, like 140 psi, and you look for where the air is coming out. Of course, you got to rotate the motor to where the valves are closed, but you rotate it to the compression stroke, and if you have, supposedly, if you have air leaking from the compression chamber into the cooling system, you would have bubbles coming in through the bottle. And I did that for all 4 cylinders, and I didn't find anything. So I started kind of poking and hoping around some more. Here's one thing I did find. It doesn't have like a regular radiator cap, but it does have a I'm trying to think what they called it. Exchange bottle, expansion tank. And then from the expansion tank, there's an overflow bottle. So this is the cap of the expansion tank, which fluid is coming in and going out of the whole time. And then this hose goes to the overflow bottle. And just like a regular radiator cap, there's supposed to be PSI. And when I was first working on the van, this was working fine. But you shouldn't be able to blow back through that like that, or draw through it. It should be, basically, it's a check valve that has a spring-loaded seal on it that, say, when it reaches 10 psi, then allows the fluid to go into the cooling system, into the overflow rather. And this wasn't doing anything. So essentially, the motor was heating up, and I think what was happening was the air, the coolant around the cylinder jug was actually getting to the point where it can boil, and I think the boiling may have been what was creating the air that was coming up through the system. I'm not sure that yet. I'm still kind of playing with it, because when you think about it, if it's just a cooling system with no pressure to it, it will boil at 212. If you let it get it to 10 psi, I don't know the actual numbers, but your boiling temperature goes much higher. So I have a feeling that this, if it wasn't causing the problem, was contributing to it. If not, I am going to have to go tear into that motor. But I don't want to do that until I'm absolutely sure that that's what it is. So $10 later, I kind of fixed that problem. So we are still kind of like, they're notorious for having, like, if you open the cooling system or change a line or a hose or something, to getting all the air out of them. They're a bit of a pain in the ass to get the air out of them anyway. You're supposed to lean them, you know, lean them uphill, bleed it, lean it the other way. There's a bleeder on the back of the motor. The radiator's up here, that's why the grill's off of it. And you can see a bleeder right here. Yeah, just keep bleeding this so I'm not getting any air anymore. So hopefully, I gotta take it on a couple more long drives, and we'll see if that either cures it or if it comes back. If it comes back, I just got to tear into this motor, and I got to do it pretty soon, because before you know it, they're going to be here and be having to drive this thing back to Florida, the long way, so to speak. So I got to get all the bugs ironed out of it. We have the propane tank and the shelf for it. Those guys right there are all painted up. They're waiting to go back on there. And we have when you fill it up all the way, there's a gas leak, and I have a feeling it's just like vent tubes that are on the gas tank that are leaking. But we have not much gas in. I want to run it down as low as possible when I drop the tank, and I'm carrying around another jug with me just in case I do run out. And I had a tire going down, and I popped that off just a little while ago. Ended up being the new valve stem, was no good. Made in China piece of crap. So put a new valve stem in it and got that together. So guys, hopefully tomorrow I'll have some good videos on my findings of the junk I come across at the yard sales. They're out there, and no matter I've done them in Florida, all over the place, and every time I go out I generally come home with something. So check your area, get out there early. Maybe someday I'll do a video on me going yard sale and what I look for and how we bargain. Alright guys, thanks for watching and commenting and all that happy stuff. Take care.